You like a drop of milk in your tea, darling?
Yes, of course, darling. Well, thank you.
Pleasure.
Oh, hello. How are you doing, fly boys and fly girls? I'm Phil. I think you used to know me. I used to split the skies above your town or somewhere around the world with those guys at the World Cup. And right now I'm having a little bit of me time, but I still have time to do some instrument review. Today I'm reviewing a fine piece of clever British engineering in the same line of clever British engineering as the radar, microwave and the Mini Cooper. I have here the Fairhaven Mini Alti Vario 2, which has now Bluetooth functionality, and I'm gonna tell you first a bit of the philosophy and behind it, and also a quick instruction guide. I'll go through the functions, all the functions, and a quick setup guide, and then some flight reviews so you can see how it works in the air, and then probably have some sort of conclusion. All right, let's go. So, why do you need something like this? Well, after almost 30 years of flying experience, I can tell you need something like a backup vario. How many times have you heard on takeoff somebody said, "Hey, my batteries are dead," or "I forgot my vario"? It happened to me, forgot my vario. So you need a backup. This is pretty small. It can fit anywhere in your car, somewhere in your bag, in your cockpit or something. I've had a few already, backup varios, solar varios, some small things you put on your helmet. Always been dissatisfied with the sound because it's just too strange. I don't know what they do, what they put in there for the beeper. This one has modulable, adjustable sound. Takes a bit of time to do it, to adjust it, but you can get it to something that you're used to. Also, when you want to travel, when you do some hike and fly something, you want to fly light, or maybe if you're too heavy or something, it's nice to have a big instrument, but now they weigh almost 1 kilo. This is so light. That's all you need. You need a phone. This connects to your phone with the Bluetooth. I mean, it's got a fully functional LCD, which has bands of that light up or light off with the power of the thermal. All kinds of data visible on the screen. Almost none of those small varios have an LCD screen. And the price is pretty fair for this type of equipment. So let's get right to it. 2 versions, one Bluetooth, one not Bluetooth. So they look exactly the same. The only difference is one has a Bluetooth option in the menus. Previous model, and actually this non-Bluetooth model is replacing the previous model in the line as a starter model. In the box, you get a Velcro belt, a cigarette lighter adapter, some Velcro patches, pretty strong stuff, and a USB cable, and a little leash. Most noticeable difference is we have a USB Type-C port. So it comes with a nice bracelet. Included are 2 little hooks, plastic, resin, ABS, probably to attach it any way you want on your instrument panel or on your carabiners. I would not recommend it attaching it to your wrist, as the movements of your brakes will be enough to confuse the results, or at least the beep will not be consistent with your real climb. And it's very sensitive, so if you really want to put it on your wrist, you'll have to reduce the sensitivity. Turn it on. Before you used to have a physical switch. Now It's a middle button. You have to hold for 3 seconds. Let's get to the basic functions. So the way you navigate with this instrument is by short presses and long presses on any of the buttons. Short press will let you scroll through the functions, and a long 3-second press will activate or modify a function. We've got the timer button, menu button, and Alti button. Each button gives you access to its own list of functions, and each button has a submenu. Scrolling down the functions of the Alti button, we got a Q&E, 2 Q&H slots, 2 Alti slots, followed by the barometer and pressure change, which will give you the trend of the pressure over the period. And it goes back to Q&E at the top of the menu. So let's scroll down the functions of the timer button. It's everything related to time. You've got the clock, you've got the alarm, you've got the stopwatch. You start and stop the stopwatch by a short press on timer, and you reset it by a long press on timer. And you exit the stopwatch by a short press on Alti or the middle button. So let's scroll down the functions of the center button, which is a menu button. First we got the averager, the battery, the G-meter, temperature, humidity, the FM radio, the Bluetooth options, the submenu option. Here you can press any of the 3 buttons to access any of the 3 submenus. Next item is your G-meter, so 0.96, we're still on Earth, so that should be correct. Temperature is next. Your humidity, 62%. And then you get to the FM radio. 3 seconds long press on the middle button to access it. And of course, you're gonna need headphones to put into the jack slot here. I didn't mention that. Let's look at the middle button submenu. The first item on the middle submenu is the demo mode, then the default setting, then the mute option, then the automatic shutdown option, LED on or off option, USB on off, Bluetooth option, your data format, the battery charging setting. First chance to exit this menu. There's another one at the bottom, but it keeps going. A lot of other items and options in this middle submenu, and this is where you can adjust your Q&E and your barometer. Let's go back. Submenu left, and you've got the maximums. Another big difference with the previous model is text messages tell you what to do depending on the context. And you scroll down with the middle button. First lift, height, sync, and all the other parameters that your sensors can record. And exit. What I really liked about the previous model, and this one has the same battery, is that you can leave it stored for several weeks, and when you pull it out when you need it, it'll still have enough charge to do you a couple flights. But it's still nice to keep it charged. Now let's adjust the frequencies and go through the functions of the radio. So you access it through the functions of the middle button, temperature, humidity, and we get to FM radio. One long press and it's turned on. So I connect. Okay, we are now in memory mode. So we got up to 10 channels we can assign to a frequency. Since we are in memory mode, we can scan. One long press in the middle button and we get in the scanning mode. One short press and it starts to scan. Once we got a frequency, tuned, we can assign it memory number by up and down arrow. Let's assign it to memory slot number 1, one long press, and it's assigned to memory slot number 1. And to turn off the radio, you scroll down the middle button functions once until you get the off message. Then you validate it because it's on the left corner with the left button, and you turn off the radio. All right. Nice thing is to have these text scrolling, telling you what to do in context with where you are in the menus. So this instrument has an auto shut off function. When you access it, you can also disable it by pushing on the arrow down until you have 0 time, and then it disables the function. Arrow up, increase the amount of time you want it to stay on, and say 10 minutes before it shuts off automatically. I'll shut it off. I think they say there's a 4-day autonomy on this, maybe more, but I'm not gonna go sit down and see 4 days and see how long it takes for it to discharge. Oh yeah, just why not, huh? Let's do it. All right. So keep pushing on the middle button until you find the exit, and then push on the Alti arrow up button to exit. Actually, what you're gonna need to access first, let's go through that, is the sensitivity of the vario. So let's go to the submenus of the altimeter. Submenus, you push on the right button to access that submenu. So in order to scroll through this submenu, which is the Alti submenu, you have to use the center button. Beep sound, yes. Internal piezo, which is the altimeter, which is we're using the internal one. The averager, you have to set it up 3 seconds, 5 seconds. Sensitivity. You adjust the sensitivity with the up or down arrows. This will adjust the range, the dynamic range of your pedal display. If you plan on flying a weak lift, you better adjust it high, but if you plan on flying more than 4 meters per second, you should adjust it on something lower, like 4 or 5. One more push on the middle button and we get to the volume adjustment. Next is up thermal threshold, which will determine how strong you want the thermal before it starts beeping. Up and down arrows to adjust. Next is down thermal threshold. Same thing, you adjust it with the up and down arrows, and it will determine at which sync rate you will start getting a sync tone. Next is a weak lift indicator. You switch it on and off with the long press on the center button, and you adjust it, the threshold, with the up and down arrows. Next item is damping. This is still for the vario sound. Let's say you have it on your wrist. This is where you can adjust the damping of the movements of your arm. Next is pace adjustment, and it's still for the vario sensitivity. So this setting will determine how excited it gets with a certain amount of lift. Okay, now I'm gonna try to connect the vario via Bluetooth to my tablet. Should be pretty straightforward because it went really easy with my phone. First I start XC-Track and then turn on the Bluetooth function on the mini vario and then connect it to the tablet via the Bluetooth menu. This has been going on for 3 days already. Tomorrow battery is getting a bit low, but should make it through tomorrow. All right, so let's go to Bluetooth. Long press on the middle button to select the function. Bluetooth on, yes.
Now I have to open the Bluetooth settings in Android and look for the Fairhaven in the list of devices available. Micro Alti, right there. Associated. I guess I'm connected. So now I have to tell XC-Track to use Fairhaven Micro Alti as an external sensor and turn on the audio vario, acoustic vario. So I have to authorize the connection, authorize the use of the Fairhaven as an external sensor, select it and all that, tick all the boxes. And here turn on acoustic vario. So this XC-Track is straight out of the box, so it needs some widgets. I added a Barrow Alti and a Vario analog display. So we get the bars and the sound. All right. So looking on the internet for mini LT options, looks like the Fairhaven comes back quite a lot. There are some GPS watches, but that's totally different animal and totally different price. Everything else either doesn't have an LCD screen or is just too big compared to this format. So the battery is really low now, but okay, after 4 days, still going. I've been fiddling with it, fiddling with the radio, the vario, and everything, also the settings. Still not dead. Still not dead. Ooh, battery alarm. All right, I'm gonna put you out of your misery. Another way to place your mini Alti Vario, for example, on your risers is through this little Velcro belt. It would come snug on your risers. But personally, made myself a little standoff thing, so I can put it right there above my instruments. Eventually can adjust the angles and everything, but hopefully it will sit here on top and will act as a little head-up display, I hope. So it's charging, LED light is on, and we've got already 4.6 volts, really close to charged up. Anyway, you can see the new bracket that I made, almost like a head-up display, right on top of my main instrument, taking no space at all. Great. So now the LED is off. That means it's fully charged. The bars are not blinking anymore, so we got 4 volts, constant. Yeah, I think it's charged. So let's set up the altitude. Alti 1. Reset. QNH. QNH adjust. Add middle button. Yep, now it's crying. As you can see here, I used a very high resolution for the petal display. So at 1 meters per second, 2 meters per second, it's already lit up all the bars and started to remove them to turn them off. It's already maxed out. So I have to set it to a less sensitive resolution. Well, one good thing is that the sound is almost the same tone as my main vario, and that's just great. So this instrument is packed with functions, and some of them you might not use them ever, but depending what activity you're doing, paramotoring, paragliding, cross-country, hike and fly, ultralight, you'll find some functions that will suit you. Anyway, very readable. There's nothing like it on the market right now. I scrolled through some possibilities when you type Micro Alti vario, and usually this thing comes up. Everything else has no LCD display or is much more costly and has more, it's got GPS integrated, which is really not necessary because the Bluetooth allows you to connect it to a phone, and when you try to be light and get a very light setup, you don't need all this extra weight. You just use your phone. Great thing about this is a long battery life. You can store it without charging, and it will still have enough battery to get you through a good cross-country flight. In case you're using it as a spare vario. But if you use it as your main vario, then you probably be happy to do a few days of flying, maybe 2, 3, 4 hours per day, maybe longer, without having to recharge it every day.